Hey guys, Brian from Boas here. Well, it's been a super busy baby boa birthing season. I'm barely able to keep up. You probably can tell because I haven't made very many videos lately because I've been so busy with all these baby boas. And today I have not just one, but two litters to share with you. They're both Longicauda litters like this one. This obviously is not from the litter. This is one of my holdbacks from a few years ago that I thought I gotta get out for the intro shot. But I've got two litters. One was born a few days ago, one was just born, and I hadn't even gotten around to shooting a video of the first one, which I was planning on doing, and the second one is on the ground right now, so I thought I would just combine them. So first we're going to get out the babies that were just born from my Russo bloodline, and we'll clean up the mother, show you the babies, count the babies, and then I'll show you my babies from the beset bloodline that were born just a few days ago. Incidentally, this is a 2021 holdback from the beset bloodline, and you can see how dark this animal is getting, but we'll see the babies now, which of course are much less darkly colored. So great year for Longicauda. Got a lot of them now. Let's meet the latest additions. We have another litter on the ground. This is kind of crazy because this is a Longicauda litter, and it's actually the second Longicauda litter I've had this week. It was just doing my weekly maintenance, and you can see the babies have dropped. Had a litter just a few days ago, and I was about to get ready to make a video showing them off, but I thought, well, I'll just combine both of these litters into one video. It's a very busy week for me as far as these beautiful Longicauda boas, and as you can probably tell, the mother's a little feisty right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to gently remove her. I'm going to get her soaking and cleaned up, and then we can take a look at the babies. You can see the mother has this classic S coil. She was striking at me a few times. This is just how they act when they've just given birth. They want to defend their babies. This is normally not a defensive or aggressive snake, and no issue to handle, but right now she's a little fired up for these babies, so I'm gonna have to gently cover her up so I don't get bitten, and then put her into a tub of lukewarm water. So the mother is now safely soaking in her bath, and there's the litter right there. It looks like a pretty good sized litter. I don't think it's quite as big as my litter of Longies a few days ago, which was 23 babies, but probably pretty close, certainly in the teens, and you can see some slugs there, but lots of nice looking babies. So this is from a Russo bloodline pair of Longicauda, and supposedly they're het for anery, although I had a litter from this pair 2 years ago and didn't seem to see any aneries, but I'm pretty sure I do see some aneries now. So we'll have to get them cleaned up and see how they look. Nonetheless, a very nice looking litter. We'll get them out and see exactly what we have. Did a quick count of the slugs before I take the babies out. Look like we got 9 slugs here. Of course, I always like to just see 0 slugs, but these things are just part of boa breeding. It looks like we have a really nice litter other than this. And then what's kind of interesting about these guys, these slugs are really tiny. They're maybe not even 2 inches, I would say, in the long direction. You can see my finger there is about 3 inches. As you probably know, the baby Longicaudas are really, really small. One of my smallest baby boas. Second only maybe to like the Tarahumara, some of the dwarfs, but these are really small babies, so it's not surprising that they're small slugs. And there's the litter. We got 20 real nice babies. Not quite as big as my other Longi litter earlier this week, but pretty close. And really encouraging to see a real nice litter. Actually my third litter this year of 20 or more, so that's quite encouraging. It's really been a hell of a season for me. If I could produce boas every year like I do this year, I would just really have it made. There's a close-up. As you can see, a lot of them are still in the amniotic sacs. There's a lot of goo in there. A smell that I've certainly experienced a lot in the last couple months, the smell of baby boa goo. And there's actually a sound, I don't know if it's picking up on the camera, but the sound of the boas squirming around in their goo, just an unmistakable sound. But you can see all these cute little babies. They're pretty tiny as far as boas go, although not quite diminutive, but smaller than most baby boas. And I think there's probably at least a few aneries in here. Technically there should be 25% or about 5 aneries, if the animals are really het for anery as they were sold to me. But strangely, as I mentioned, I didn't see any obvious aneries in my litter 2 years ago, which I think was 17 babies. But I'm going to go ahead and put them on a heat mat set to 90 degrees on one side. I'm going to come and clean up the paper towels in a few hours. Maybe shoot a little bit more footage once they're a bit cleaner. It's been a few hours. I just came to clean up the babies a bit, get rid of some of the goo, and change the paper towels. You can see the babies there, kind of forming 2 piles. And it's hard to see right now because they're kind of still dirty from all the goo, and obviously their colors are not very bright. But there's quite a bit of variability in the patterns. Some have the more regular saddles, whereas others have some partial striping and some aberrancies as well. And then a few of them definitely do look anerythristic, although it's sometimes hard to tell with these Longicauda since they don't have a lot of bright color anyway, mostly black and white animals, but we'll have to see after they shed what they look like. I did notice, unfortunately, that a few of them do have some kinking of the spine, mostly in the tail. And this happens sometimes with boas and other snakes. I think the fact that this was a relatively small female, about 6 feet long, and she had a relatively large litter of 20 babies and 9 slugs. So it took up a lot of space, and it's possible that perhaps the crowded conditions led to the kinking in some of these animals. Although I'm not entirely sure that's the case, I've just heard that that's a possibility, and it kind of makes sense as well. On a positive note, it doesn't look like the kinking is too extensive, at least in most of the animals I've seen, just in the tail. So these guys should be okay as pets, and lead a normal, healthy life just with a minor imperfection in the tail. And sometimes people just want a pet boa. They're not that concerned if it has a minor imperfection like that. So they'll make great pets for somebody. So I'm just going to keep them in this 14-gallon Sterilite tub with a paper towel substrate. You can see the heat mat underneath the tub. I have a thermostat set to maintain about 90 degrees on half of the enclosure. I'll give them a water dish, more for maintaining the humidity, although they might drink at this young of an age. And when they are ready to shed in about 10 days, they'll be put into separate tubs. I also wanted to show you this other Longicauda litter that I had just a few days before the Russo babies that I just showed you. These are actually beset bloodline animals, and overall they're pretty similar. Of course, they're Longicauda, same locality boa, just a different bloodline. I would say these guys in general have a more regular pattern. I don't see any animals, or at least any obvious animals, that look anerythristic. There's a little bit of red pigment, although they are mostly, a darkly colored animal, kind of more of a muted black and white and, dark brown coloration. You can see how they're piling up on top of each other. This is pretty normal behavior for baby boas. I think it gives them safety in number. And in the wild, if there was ever a predator that came, maybe the predator might grab 1 or 2 of them, but the rest would get away. So it gives them some safety. And they also can conserve heat that way. So this litter was actually 23 babies, which makes it the second largest litter I've ever had. Unfortunately, there doesn't appear to be any kinking of the spine in any of these animals. But honestly, I haven't examined them really closely yet, since they were just born, but we'll have to see. But this is a really nice litter, and it's definitely been a very busy week for these Longicauda Boas here. I've got quite a few of them. This bloodline, the beset, these are real nice. The Russo bloodlines are real nice as well. They're pretty similar overall, maybe a slight difference. But most of these animals, if not all of them, are going to be available in probably about 2 months or so. So if you want to set up a really nice breeding group of Longicauda, we got some great ones here for you. Thought I'd end today's Longicauda extravaganza by showing you the father of the litter that was just born. This is a Russo bloodline Longicauda male. You can see how dark he is compared to the babies. And these are kind of a medium-sized boa, not a dwarf, not a giant. I'd say he's about 6 feet or so. Pretty much the same size as my other adult animals. And they're kind of more of a slender boa. They're not really thick and muscular like some boas. Kind of more of the build of an Argentine, for example. But just they don't get as big as the Argentines. Although they get pretty much just as dark, if not darker. So really great locality boa to work with, Longicauda. And I will have quite a few of these beauties available pretty soon. So if you're looking to get into Longicauda or add to your group, I'll have some great ones available for you. So I expect they'll be ready to go in about 1.5 to 2 months after they're feeding and established. So stay tuned to the channel. I'll give you updates. You can also check in on my Flickr page. The link is below the video description, and that's where I upload pictures of my animals when they're ready to go. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Shoot me any questions you might have, and enjoy your boas.